What would you do if you walked into a coffee shop for a blind date, expecting just one person, only to find not just him, but five little faces peeking at you from behind his chair? This is the story of Jason Thompson, a graphic designer whose entire life changed one afternoon when he met Michael Rodriguez, a Navy SEAL with 5 children and a heart bigger than anyone could have imagined. Jason had been raising his daughter Emma alone in Norfolk, Virginia for 6 years. A Yale graduate with a promising career in New York, he sacrificed it all when his ex-husband David chose professional advancement over family. Emma, now 9, was bright-eyed, creative, and a little too mature for her age. She had watched her father juggle freelance graphic design jobs, manage bills, and still try to smile for her sake after David missed her piano recital for a business opportunity in London. Memorial Day weekend brought unexpected change when Jason's best friend Kevin practically forced him into trying a blind date. "Come on, man, you deserve to laugh again. You deserve someone," Kevin insisted while they shared lunch near the naval base where he worked. Reluctantly, Jason agreed. On that rainy Saturday morning, Jason walked into the Blue Anchor Café, one of the few LGBT-friendly spots in this military-conservative town. He was nervous and half regretting it already. He spotted him immediately. Michael. He wasn't what Jason expected. Strong posture, a warmth in his eyes, and the unmistakable bearing of a decorated serviceman. The Congressional Medal of Honor recipient had an air of someone who had weathered storms but still stood tall. Then Jason noticed something else. 5 kids. 2 boys tugged at each other's sleeves. A teenager tried to keep them calm. The 2 youngest girls whispered and giggled behind their dad's chair. Jason froze. He almost turned around and walked out. Was this some kind of cruel joke? Michael caught his eyes, read his hesitation instantly, and smiled apologetically. "I know this isn't normal," he said softly, "because it's Memorial Day weekend. My usual sitter went home to family. They're part of who I am. If you're here to meet me, you're meeting all of us." Something about the honesty in Michael's voice made Jason sit down instead of running away. The beginning was awkward. The kids were noisy, curious, even a little mischievous. Jason stumbled over his words while Michael tried to keep the little ones from spilling juice on the table. But then Emma arrived late from her art class at Norfolk Arts Center, and everything shifted. Michael's children welcomed Emma like she was one of them. They started laughing, showing her drawings, and for the first time in months, Jason saw his daughter laugh without the shadow of sadness that had lingered since David's abandonment. If you've ever felt that life sometimes gives us exactly what we need in the most unexpected packages, give this video a thumbs up. Follow our Heart Stories channel for more real journeys of love and family that defy expectations. Sometimes the most beautiful beginnings look nothing like what we planned. They're even better. The Blue Anchor Cafe grew quieter as Jason studied the faces around Michael's table. Each child had a story written in their expressions. Tyler, 15, sat with protective posture. His eyes narrowed with suspicion toward this stranger entering their world. The oldest and first adopted during Miguel's initial deployment. He wore his varsity soccer jacket like armor, visibly uncomfortable with his father's interest in another man. The twins Sophie and Sam, 12, couldn't have been more different. Sam focused intensely on his sports magazine, while Sophie quietly sketched complex patterns that hinted at her scientific mind. Jason learned they were Miguel's sister's children, taken in after her divorce when she couldn't care for them. Sophie's eyes lit up when she discovered Emma also loved science, immediately launching into a discussion about cellular biology that made the adults smile. 8-year-old Olivia clutched a worn photo keychain, her fingers tracing the face of Miguel, her biological father who never came home from Afghanistan, quiet and observant. She studied Jason with the kind of assessment only children who've experienced loss can master. And little Max, just 6, bounced with unfiltered energy, the first to slide over and make room for Emma, immediately showing her his collection of seashells gathered from Virginia Beach. Jason noticed sideways glances from other patrons. A middle-aged couple whispered, their disapproval barely concealed. The barista, however, smiled warmly while bringing extra napkins without being asked. Norfolk had its contradictions. A military town with both traditional values and the diversity that comes with global service members. It's Memorial Day weekend, Michael explained softly while the children chatted. This time of year is always... His voice trailed off, but his eyes finished the sentence. Loss, remembrance, moving forward despite everything. He spoke of his 14 years as a SEAL, receiving the Purple Heart, and 4 years as a widower after losing Miguel to an IED, 5 children who had already faced more loss than many adults. Miguel and I always wanted a big family. Michael shared, we adopted Tyler during Miguel's first deployment. The twins came later. Miguel's sister couldn't care for them after her divorce. Olivia and Max are Miguel's biological children from a previous relationship. As the afternoon stretched on, Emma's laughter rang genuine for the first time in months. Since the day David had chosen a career opportunity over his daughter's piano recital, Emma's smile had carried a weight. Here, surrounded by this instant family, that weight seemed momentarily lifted. Walking home later, Jason battled conflicting emotions. His logical mind listed reasons to run financial strain, emotional complexity, society's judgment, yet his heart kept returning to the way Emma had looked in that cafe. Belonging. Dad, I like them, Emma whispered that night during their bedtime ritual. Can we see them again? Max said they go to Norfolk Children's Museum every other Sunday. Jason kissed her forehead, knowing this wasn't just about him anymore. Sometimes life's most important doors are the ones that terrify us to walk through. The path to healing often appears in forms we never expected to recognize, wrapped in challenges that test our courage to receive them. Seasons changed as Jason and Michael's families grew closer. Summer brought park outings where Tyler reluctantly taught Emma soccer moves. Fall meant museum visits with Sophie explaining exhibits to anyone who would listen. Winter holidays saw Jason teaching Michael how to make proper pancakes while the children built gingerbread houses. They created rhythms, traditions, moments where two broken families started feeling whole. But harmony never comes without discord. Jason's mother, a conservative Christian from Virginia Beach, refused to meet Michael and his children. I love you, Jason, but I can't support this arrangement, she said during their weekly call. The silence that followed hurt more than any argument could have. His father remained neutral but absent, trapped between love for his son and decades of religious conditioning. School became a battlefield. Emma came home crying after classmates taunted her about having 2 dads. Tyler faced snide comments from soccer teammates who suddenly stopped inviting him to gatherings. The principal called both fathers, and after Sophie fought a boy who called their family unnatural. Michael sat straight-backed during the meeting, military composure intact, while Jason gripped his hand beneath the table, white-knuckled but resolute. The financial strain tightened when a major client dropped Jason's design firm, citing misalignment with family values. Michael considered a high-paying security consultant position that would require extensive travel. We need the money, he argued late one night after the children were asleep. But we need you here more, Jason countered, the fear of another abandonment lingering unspoken between them. Then came the legal threat. David returned with an expensive attorney, filing for custody review. The child is being exposed to an unstable household structure. The legal document stated. Jason read it twice, hands shaking, before calling Michael. The courtroom loomed like a shadow over their fragile happiness. Miguel's parents arrived from Mexico, their grief and concern colliding as they questioned whether their grandchildren should be raised by 2 men. Miguel would want his children raised in faith. His mother insisted in heavily accented English, while Michael translated for Jason. The cultural divide seemed unbridgeable until Max climbed into his grandmother's lap and said, Daddy Michael and Daddy Jason make us happy like Daddy Miguel did. Michael began doubting himself. Maybe I've been selfish, he confessed to Jason during a rare moment alone. I'm dragging you and Emma into my complicated world. The weight of public scrutiny, family disapproval, and legal battles pressed down on shoulders already carrying too much responsibility. Pastor James from the Progressive Methodist Church downtown became their unexpected ally. Family isn't defined by tradition, he told them during counseling. It's defined by love, commitment, and choosing each other every point. His words became their anchor as opposition intensified. Jason stood in the kitchen one night, watching through the window as Michael played catch with all the 6 children in the backyard. Laughter echoed across the lawn while sunset painted them in golden light. In that moment, Jason made his decision. Some things were worth fighting for. Even if the battle seemed impossible, this family, unexpected, unconventional, and absolutely essential, was his to protect. The emergency room's fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across Tyler's pale face as he lay on the gurney. Leg twisted at an unnatural angle, the championship soccer game had ended with a brutal collision, bones snapping loud enough for spectators to hear. Jason paced the waiting room, phone pressed to his ear. Michael's voicemail answered for the 5th time. He was somewhere over the Atlantic, returning from an emergency security consultation in Germany. The irony wasn't lost on Jason. Today was supposed to be their first custody hearing. Now it was postponed because the family was in crisis, a crisis he was handling alone. The doctor approached with x-rays and forms requiring a parent's signature. "I'm not legally his father," Jason explained, voice breaking. The doctor hesitated until Tyler called out from behind the curtain. "He is my dad. He's just not on paper yet." Back home, chaos reigned. Amundine helped Sophie with homework while Sam prepared sandwiches for dinner. Olivia sat beside Tyler's bed reading aloud from his favorite novel while Mac colored get-well cards. Jason moved between them like a conductor, keeping their improvised orchestra playing despite the missing first chair. When Michael finally called, exhaustion evident in his voice, Jason simply said, "We're managing, we need you, but we're okay." Ms. Carter, Emma's teacher and a transgender veteran, arrived with casseroles and determination. "My partner and I made enough for the week," she announced, organizing the refrigerator with military precision. When Jason mentioned the custody case, she straightened her shoulders. "I'll testify. This family is the most functional I've seen in 20 years of teaching." Pastor James used his connections to find a prominent LGBT rights attorney who specialized in military family cases. "The hearing is postponed indefinitely," he reported after making calls from Jason's living room. "David's lawyer seems less confident now that there's community support rallying around you." The podcast invitation came unexpectedly. Modern American Family wanted to feature their story, not as controversy, but as example. The children sat clustered around the microphone as Jason explained how love sometimes arrives wearing unfamiliar clothes. Tyler, usually reserved, spoke passionately about having 2 fathers who showed up consistently. Unlike many traditional parents he knew, as the podcast went viral, something remarkable happened. Michael's former SEAL teammates began calling. One by one, they voiced support. "We fought for freedom," his former commander stated publicly. "That includes Rodriguez's freedom to build a family with someone who loves his children as much as he does." Michael returned home to find his world transformed. The house functioned smoothly without him, yet clearly missed his presence. That night, after the children were asleep, he sat beside Jason on the porch swing. "I've been thinking about what really matters," he said quietly. "Not titles or appearances or what others think. This, what we've built together, this matters." For the first time, Michael said the words he'd been holding back. "I love you," he whispered, not just to Jason, but loud enough for the children listening from the cracked window above. Their collective cheer broke the nighttime silence, bringing both men to laughter through tears. The family that had once been 2 broken pieces now stood united, not because life had become easier, but because they had grown stronger together. Their differences became their advantage, each bringing unique strengths to weather the storms that continue to come. They had learned that family isn't what you're born into, it's what you build together with intention, courage, an unwavering commitment to showing up for each other every single day. The courthouse steps gleamed in spring sunshine as Jason and Michael emerged, hands clasped, surrounded by their children. David stood alone on the sidewalk, his expensive suit suddenly looking oversized on his frame. The judge's decision had been clear. Uma would remain with Jason, with David granted regular visitation. The unstable environment claim had crumbled under testimonies from teachers, neighbors, and even military officials. "She's happy," David finally admitted, watching Emma laughing with her new siblings. "I was wrong." His acknowledgement wasn't quite an apology, but it was enough. The bitterness that had fueled his custody suit had evaporated in the face of undeniable truth. His daughter was thriving in this unconventional family. Summer brought another change when Michael declined a promotion that would have required extensive travel. Instead, he accepted a training position at the local base, trading career advancement for daily bedtime stories and soccer games. "Some sacrifices aren't really sacrifices," he explained when his commander questioned the decision. "Some are just choosing what matters most." Their wedding took place in the botanical gardens. Military precision meeting her artistic vision. Michael wore his dress uniform, medals gleaming on his chest, while Jason designed special boutonnieres incorporating seashells collected by Max from Virginia Beach. 6 children formed their wedding party. Tyler standing tall as ring bearer, no longer the reluctant teenager but a proud young man. Each child read a personal letter during the ceremony. Sophie spoke of equations and how some combinations create stronger elements. Sam thanked Jason for teaching him to cook. Olivia mentioned how his kindness reminded her of her daddy Miguel. Tyler's letter, read with unwavering voice, acknowledged his initial resistance and how Jason had never stopped trying to connect despite it. The reception doubled as a fundraiser for orphaned military children, establishing a foundation in Miguel's name. Miguel's parents sat at the head table, his mother now wearing a rainbow pin beside her crucifix, her own quiet revolution. Jason's father attended, though his mother sent only a card with a gift certificate. Some journeys toward acceptance take longer than others. On Veterans Day, they celebrated their first anniversary. The house overflowed with guests, Michael's military colleagues, Jason's design clients, teachers, neighbors, and other LGBT military families who had found courage in their story. Jason's photography project, Modern American Families, had been exhibited at the Norfolk Art Museum, featuring diverse military families rarely represented in mainstream media. That evening, as sunset painted their backyard, gathering in gold and crimson, Michael raised his glass. The children gathered close as he spoke words that would become their family motto in America. He reflected, watching their children play volleyball with friends. Family isn't about bloodlines, gender, or tradition. It's about the safe harbor we build together through love and sacrifice. Jason squeezed his hand, remembering that rainy day when he almost walked out of a café because love arrived in a package he hadn't expected. Sometimes life's greatest blessings come wrapped in challenges that test our courage to receive them. What unexpected form has love taken in your life? Have you ever found family in places you never thought to look? Share your story in the comments below and subscribe to Heart Stories for more real journeys that remind us how love transforms when we're brave enough to recognize it, even when it doesn't match our expectations.